I can see your slides are ready to go. So without further ado, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everyone. It's David Bullivant here from Sunrise. I'm going to take you through kind of a 20-minute overview, really. Today, we're going to talk about customer experience wins with service desk actions. I'm just going to quickly show you a few slides for those of you that aren't aware or haven't heard of Sunrise, just to really explain who we are. So in terms of Sunrise, we're a UK-based software company. We've been going for just over 25 years now, so very well established in the service desk and service management industry. We have both a SaaS and on-premise offering. One of the things that's quite important to a lot of our clients is that we have UK-only data centers and support for all of our SaaS customers. So again, in terms of location of data, there's a very a straightforward kind of story around that. We believe we're, as I said, well established and trusted by our clients, and we've also got very proven software with what we believe is very competitive pricing. Just a few customers who use Sunrise. Effectively, though, Sunrise is in use across all verticals and all sectors. As I mentioned, the kind of main use is in IT service management, but what we tend to find is over the years, our customers have found lots of other uses for our software, particularly in other areas around enterprise service management. So there's a few other kind of areas here where customers have actually found use for Sunrise. As you can see, really, that these areas kind of tend to span all areas of organizations, really. Anywhere where someone's capturing and recording information, you could potentially use a service management tool such as Sunrise to track. One of the other things we have, which I will mention briefly, is we have the Service Desk Institute Report Compliance Pack. So those of you that aren't aware of that, it's effectively a set of best practice KPI reports that help you to understand how your organisation is performing. And if any of you are interested in working with the Service Desk Institute to get their accreditation, this forms part of the evidence pack, which is effectively chapter 8. So again, if you're not necessarily looking to get an accreditation, they can still be seen as very useful KPI reports. For those of you that are looking to get perhaps the accreditation, they would be especially useful. Obviously today our time together is quite short, as it is for all vendors. So I was going to focus on a specific area today. I was going to talk to you about customer experience wins from service desk actions, and I've got kind of 5 areas I wanted to talk about, and also, of course, as I go through, I will reference our software and give you some ideas about how you can get some customer experience wins. So we're just going to break out of the slides now and just go into the demonstration. So the first area I wanted to talk about is how multi-channel self-service can help to drive your customer engagement and therefore obviously improve the overall customer experience. There's obviously lots of ways you can engage with your customers. It could be via a self-service portal, via chat, via email, and all of those options obviously depend on the type of customer and how they want to engage. That, of course, may be different for both internal and external customers. So I'm going to start by logging into the Sunrise self-service portal. Today I'm using a local account, but you can also use single sign-on. So, for example, AGFS or other types of SAML authentication can be used. Now, when you log into the Sunrise self-service portal, you start off with the landing page dashboard. These are fully configurable, so you can obviously control the information that you want to present based on the type of end user or customer that you're supporting. It's all sort of dashboard driven, drag and drop widgets. How I've set up this demo dashboard today is to give you kind of a flavour of the 3 or 4 most popular used features within the self-service portal. So just to kind of take you through a few of them. Middle right, you've got kind of a message area. So if you want to publish key messages, yes, absolutely, you can email people, but you can also publish them to the portal. We tend to find the more you can make this a one-stop shop, the more hopefully customers will engage and use the portal. So Dan's my end user. If I want to find out a bit more information, I can just click on here and go and read more about this particular announcement. They of course can be tailored to different users and different teams to make it relevant. As part of any other or part of a kind of a service management tool, you're also probably going to have like a built-in knowledge base. So as well as having internal knowledge, if you want to, you can also publish knowledge to the self-service portal. So bottom right, you've got an example here where someone can kind of proactively go in and search for knowledge. Of course, that could be segmented separate to what IT would want to see internally across the different departments. To give you a very quick example, if I've got an issue with my iPhone, I can start to type in the nature of the issue. I'll get a suggestion, and then we can go straight in and view the knowledge article. In terms of a way you can present data, again, it's entirely up to you. You can have formatted text, embedded images, you can have embedded videos, and also, of course, links to other areas, such as maybe a third-party support channel or somewhere different. So you can really have kind of fully functional engagement with your end users via the self-service portal. Some of the other areas, of course, that are interesting are an existing user can see their current incidents and requests. So it's very easy to go in, check the progress, and obviously see how things are going. And if I want to, of course, provide further notes and information. Probably one of the main drivers, though, I guess, to kind of make me want to go to the self-service portal is to log or raise something new. So across the top, you'll see a couple of examples here. These are effectively customizable forms with buttons that can go straight in to a specific area. You'll notice that in my example, it's kind of an IT team, but they've also rolled out other areas such as facilities. So if I did have a facilities request, I've got kind of like a one-stop shop here. If I just pick on the I can't work icon, one thing you'll notice as well is we're intentionally in the self-service portal not necessarily kind of using ITIL terminology. Whilst ITIL is very popular with the IT community, an end user really probably wants to have it kind of mentioned in their everyday words. So from an end user point of view, if I can't work, I can click here and I've got a simple form to provide information that is needed to help deal with my issue. We looked kind of a minute earlier about how you can proactively search the kind of knowledge base, but I fully appreciate in the real world, people aren't necessarily going to be that proactive. So you can also automate that. So you'll see here, if I stick with the same issue with the iPhone, the minute I start to type, the tool will actually proactively suggest, in this case, the same knowledge article. So again, as people are logging and raising new things within the self-service portal, you can also encourage them to obviously kind of self-help and try and fix their own issue. So the end user could go on and log the incident directly into the service desk. Just a couple of other areas to focus on around the kind of multi-channel self-service engagement. Some of our clients also prefer more of like a shopping cart view. So here you can see an example where you might have standard products or services. So rather than have to fill in a form, which works well in some scenarios, you might prefer your end users to be able to come in and just choose from a shopping cart. So if, for example, I want to request an IT service, I can come here and add an IT service to my basket. Or alternatively, I can just come in, type what I'm looking for. Obviously, it'll bring back relevant results and I can add it to the basket in exactly the same manner. Again, once this is done, the end result, of course, is absolutely the same. I can go through, check out my particular request, and that will go through and raise a ticket within the system itself. One of the other things I mentioned as well was another channel you may want to engage would be chat. So again, within the self-service portal, you can embed web-based chat tools directly within the application itself. So it's very easy as part of the self-service portal to be able to chat directly to IT or any other areas that may be using the application. So that's the first area. Area two is really looking around how automation can beat repetition. So I guess there's lots of ways you can automate a service desk tool. Many of them have already been discussed today. You tend to find the more you can automate process, the more you can make it, I guess, go through without man intervention, then the more that tends to lead to customer experience being improved, because obviously from the customer point of view, it seems slick and seamless. And obviously the quicker you can deal with things, the more happy they're likely to be. So to show you that, I'm now going to focus on the main interface. So this would be the interface that the IT team would use, or of course other business areas that are using it to provide support. Again, this is fully web-based, and it's a HTML5 interface that supports all main browsers that you may use. So if we log into the main interface, I will go through the kind of runtime areas as part of my other examples. But to talk about automation, I wanted to go into the kind of config side to show you how you can configure automation and how straightforward that is. So to do that, I've just opened the Sunrise administration portal. So this is where you would configure all of the application, and you'll notice there's a various services that you may use. One of the things that makes this quite intuitive is everything's in its self-contained area. So if you want to, for example, configure incident management, it's quite straightforward. You can come here, go into incident management, and there's all of the core areas that you would need. There's the standard things you'd expect, such as screens. So there's a screen designer where I can go in and design screens, but also, of course, my filters, which is my work queues, my operations and statuses. So that's all kind of fully configurable. But I guess the focus today is on automation. So if I come into the process area, here you can see all of the pre-configured processes. So to give you an example, here we've got a pre-built new starter process. So what you'll notice is there's a kind of Visio type view where you can go in, add to, change to, amend, and configure a process within the application to kind of provide automation from the tool. What I'll do quickly, obviously conscious of time, is just give an example of how you could create a new process. So we're going to go into the kind of the process creation wizard. One of the things you may find is that actually when you create a new process, there's already kind of a similar process within the application. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll copy the new starter process, and I want to create a leaver process. Now, the entry point into a process, I guess, could be two things. It could be a trigger. So it could be something like when I complete the add leaver request, I want to follow that process, or it could be like criteria driven. So here you have kind of a dynamic criteria builder. So if you want to say, for example, category is equal to, and then choose a category, you could do it that way as well. So again, you might want to go in and choose a specific category. But for the purpose of today, we'll just use an operation. When I create the process, it will give me a quick warning of what it's going to do, and then it will go in and sort of build the process for me. In this case, obviously, it's going to copy the new starter process as a basis for my leaver process. Once I've done that, it's very easy to kind of go in and amend it. So there may be some actions that aren't relevant to the particular new process you've created. If you want to go in and perhaps just amend an action, you can do. So maybe one of the first things you want to happen is we want the devices to be returned. So as part of a leaver process, they need to return a device. Perhaps we need to have like an action that happens once they've returned a device, such as inform HR. So again, I can just go in, say that actually I want this to happen on completion, and I want to add another task to be automated, which could be notify HR, which could obviously trigger the emails to go out to HR. So in that way, it's very easy to go in and build processes within the application itself. We're going to focus now a little bit more on the runtime side. I guess there's lots of examples of how we could, or what we could give you, sorry, of how software can enable IT teams and help to improve customer service. The example we're going to show you today is how you can accelerate your customer experience using what we call dynamic searching. So to give you a quick example, if I go into my incident summary area and I log an incident, I guess when you raise an incident, there's lots of useful information that could be presented. So if, for example, I start to type a contact or an end user's name, you see here that the system can automatically suggest open incidents for the user, perhaps items that they're using. If, for example, I want to perhaps promote an item, so if I promote this printer to the screen, you'll see here it's now telling me that actually the issue wasn't with the end user, it was with the item, and now it's presenting that. Final example would be when you raise an incident, you may have perhaps useful problems or knowledge information that can help you. So let's say, for example, I'm on the phone, someone calls up and they say they're having like an issue and an error 901. If I type in error 901, as I type in error 901, similar to the self-service portal, based on those tags, solutions are automatically presented. So in this case, there's a kind of a relevant knowledge article that's presented, or it could be an existing problem perhaps. So in this case here, there's a related problem, and what I might want to do is promote the problem to the incident record, and then obviously going forward, you can manage it centrally. Once the incident's raised, we can obviously then go forward and kind of manage that within the application itself. The fourth thing I was going to quickly talk about, and obviously conscious of time, we've got about 4 minutes left now, is integration and how integration can help break down boundaries and improve customer experience. I think it's fair to say that all of you will use multiple applications within your organization. You're not going to use a service desk for all of the activity that you do. So the more you can integrate different applications, the better. In terms of Sunrise, we have an integrations app and a full REST-based API. So we can do both two-way integration with pretty much any other application with an API. So a couple of very quick examples for you. Most people are using Microsoft Teams now. So we can have kind of two-way Teams integration. We can have like bots in Teams that you can chat to and can raise tickets or incidents within Sunrise, but you can also push out information to Teams. So let's say, for example, you're working on a major incident or a problem, you wouldn't necessarily want to have to update the service desk tool and then go to Teams and update Teams. So a very quick integration, a very simple yet powerful one, is maybe to be able to say, right, when I update the major incident, I want to update Teams as well. So I can type in some text, such as we expect an update in 20 minutes. And I can, of course, send any field that we're recording within this particular record to the Teams session. So when I do that, what you'll basically notice is if we go into Teams, it's basically sent a message to Teams with the information I want to share. So we can automatically update channels without having to do it within the sort of separately within Teams as well as Sunrise. And then I suppose beyond kind of like a one-way outbound integration, often customers will want two-way integration. Common examples that people use, so integration with Microsoft Graph for things such as creating contacts in Azure, or maybe adding a calendar entry, so we can add an entry directly into someone's calendar from Microsoft Graph using the API. And I suppose outside of kind of the Microsoft tools, you may have other tools in place such as collaboration tools. It could be development tools. So here, for example, I've got the option to raise a bug ticket in Jira. So if I just kind of give you an example of doing that, I won't kind of go in and show the other application, but what happens from the Sunrise point of view is the outbound call has now gone away. It's created a ticket in Jira as a bug using this information. It's come back and given me the Jira reference and also the Jira progress. I now have like a two-way integration, so I can send updates from Sunrise to Jira, but also, of course, in Jira, if the developers are working on it, you could update Sunrise as well. And I think that's really important. You know, service management tools are very broad, but you wouldn't necessarily use Sunrise for every use. You know, if you've got established tools, it's just really giving you the confidence that Sunrise can collaborate quite well with those. And as I said, if I step outside from the customer point of view, the more these tools are talking seamlessly, the better their experience will be. Point 5, which is my final point before I kind of wrap up and pass back to David. I guess reporting is really important. Reporting can unveil a bigger picture to help you obviously enhance your customer experience. So there's lots of reporting options within Sunrise. We have an inbuilt report manager that enables you to create and schedule and email out your own reports using a simple wizard. As I mentioned in my intro, we have the Service Desk Institute reports, which are a set of kind of KPI best practice reports, which are incredibly useful. There's about, I believe, 37 standard reports across all kind of key areas of IT around things like customer satisfaction, average response and resolution time, backlog, all of those kind of key metrics, as well as the kind of the graphical dashboard in the main HTML5 interface that you saw when I logged in. We also have like real-time wallboards. So again, these are very useful for kind of managers, people that want to see instant real-time information within the application itself. And then last but not least, of course, although we provide you a number of advanced report options, we know that people have their own reporting strategies. One of the more popular sort of tools at the moment is Power BI. So one of the things you get with Sunrise is a standard extract with a number of standard pages and charts within Power BI. So if you don't have Power BI skills, it's fine. You can use this out of the box within Power BI. If you do have Power BI skills, that's obviously ideal because you can take it further and do whatever you want. So just to give you a quick flavour, these are the types of standard metrics that you can get out of the application using Power BI. One of the good things about Power BI as well is it allows you to truly analyse the data. So rather than just, and in this case, seeing how many records are added in a week, I can actually go in and ask Power BI to maybe explain to me, well, why is that week particularly low? And what Power BI will do is go in and make some suggestions based on the Sunrise data. So is it because there was more or less of a certain type of incident, or is it related to a particular team, or perhaps it's even a day of a week where there was a significant drop off in calls? So I think kind of BI type tools can help you expand that further, and to summarize, I guess, improve your overall customer experience. At that point, I believe I've probably fully used my 20 minutes, so I'll pause now. I'll just put back up my slide. Actually, if you've got any questions or you'd like to follow up with Sunrise after today's session, you can contact us on sunrisesoftware.com.
Lovely, thank you, David. We have got a couple of minutes before we go into our next session. So I've got one question that's come through from Gemma, and that relates to the capturing the experience. So how would you capture the customer's experience of the service they receive? Now, it's interesting because if you look at iPhone, if you look at the value thing, you know, it's the value from a customer's perspective, business perspective, from the experience. So how would you do that with the tool set, David?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, there's obviously lots of ways you can measure the customer experience. One of the most effective ways we tend to find is customer surveys. Probably the key thing to mention, though, is if you do a customer survey, I think it's probably important to keep it relevant and simple to respond to. And also as well, I think with customer feedback and surveys, it's important to take action on the feedback. So in Sunrise, for example, we have an event-based customer survey. So when you close an incident or request, you can automatically send out a survey to get feedback of how it's been dealt with. Suggestions around that specifically, simple things like happy or not happy buttons, allowing simple comments really help to get that feedback. We actually implemented that, just a quick comment on that. We implemented it at Sunrise on our service desk, and we found that creating like a simple survey had a 400% increase in the customer feedback we got, of which 96% was positive. So yeah, there's lots of ways you could do it, but I think the customer survey is a good place to start.
Great stuff, thank you. Well, thank you for that. And as you mentioned, or we've mentioned, you're staying on as we move now into our first Q&A panel. So listeners, please